Hi, everyone. I'm Marco DiGeorge. I'm the co founder and instructor at Truthful Acting Studios. And tonight we're going to be doing an acting tips webinar for you, where I'm going to go through a couple different things on acting, and then I'm going to answer some submitted questions that have been given to me by some of you. So that's what we're going to kind of go through tonight. And it's going to be the new format for this ongoing webinar that we're doing is we're going to be discussing a different topic each time. And then also, I'm going to answer any questions that you submit. If you have a question for a future session, you can go to our website. And when you register for the next live acting tips webinar, you can submit a question right there. You can also just go to any of our contact forms. You can email us as well. And any questions you submit, I do my best to try to include them all in this session. So, excuse me. Let's go right into it. So, the tip today, which I get this question a lot, is what makes acting so difficult to learn and perform at a high level? So, I just want to talk a little bit about acting and what is acting versus the misconceptions of acting. Because I think that's really where it starts, is that we have some basic misconceptions of what acting is, and therefore we don't understand why it's difficult to operate and to create a craft and create a career out of. So the first thing is that most people believe that acting is much easier than it is because we believe that it's simply pretending to be somebody else. Very similar to when we were kids and we would just pretend, we'd play different games and we pretend to be, whatever. We pretend to be, an astronaut, or we pretend to be Indiana Jones or whatever it was that we were doing. We would just pretend and we would play. And while there is a large aspect of play and imagination and acting, acting is not pretending to be somebody else. Rather, it's getting down into the deep level essence of who you actually are. And we have to then reveal that. So, because it's not pretending, because when I say pretending, it's almost as if we're putting on a character mask and we just pretend to be that character. But really, acting is about humanity and it's about vulnerability. And it's about exposing a part of ourself, a deep, vulnerable part of ourself for this thing called character. Because when an audience member watches you in theater, they watch you on television, they watch you in the movies, when they're watching a character and they're following a character's story, they want to believe that this person is real, or at least real in the context of what we're watching. We want to suspend our disbelief as the audience and go on this journey with the characters. So, in order to do that, there must be some believability of the story we're watching. Now, when I say believability, I don't mean realistic. Like, realism is not where I'm going at, because obviously most of our stories are unrealistic. If we're watching a Marvel movie or something that's in the fantasy world, well, that's unrealistic, but it can still be believable. Meaning, within the context of the world that this character lives and within the rules of their universe, I believe what's happening to this character and the things that they're doing. So, believability is a big part of this. We want to see an actual human being. And interestingly enough, when I say human being, even when we're talking about alien type creatures or android type creatures, things like that that are in sci-fis and fantasy, they're still personified down to the human level. So our job is to make them as believable as possible for the audience. And we can't do that by pretending to be something else, because the believability part of that comes from a deeper truth, because we also need to convey truth to the audience. So once they go on the ride and they're in this believable world and they're with believable characters, then we need the audience to feel truth. Now, truth means, so it's part of kind of our we call them the three essential elements of performance. A performance needs to be believable, digestible, and truthful. Those are the three things we need out of a performance for an audience to get the maximum experience. So the believability is making sure that we look, we sound, we behave in a way that is believable to the audience. But truth means we need to allow the audience, uh, we have to allow them to connect in with us, to feel what we are going through. Not just see what we are going through, but to feel what we are going through. So, okay, so now we're getting into, okay, so we have to somehow have a believability to us, and we need to allow the audience to feel. It's starting to be a lot. I'm not even going to get into digestibility. That's a whole different level. So even just in those two things, it's like, okay, so how do we do that? Can I do that by simply pretending to be somebody else? Well, the reason why that's difficult is when we pretend to be somebody else, we just put a mask right on top of us. What happens is we're covering up who we are. We're covering up the deeper parts of ourself. We're covering up the vulnerability. We're covering up the emotional aspect, the internal life. And really, we need to expose that. So with acting, it's not something that we simply pretend to do, but it's something we work very hard at. Very similar to the things we do in real life, we do on stage or in front of the camera. Meaning, we must speak clearly and truthfully. We must really listen and react to the world around us, and we must feel. We must feel. Now, here's a big difference. In life, we spend much of our time avoiding feelings. We avoid emotion because we like to feel good. We'll call it good most of the time. We want to feel like we're in control of our emotions and we're in control of our day, and all of that is happening. But really, we spend much of a time when we're, let's say you're out in public and you just, something comes over you. You either get some bad news or you're going through a moment and you feel emotional. Well, typically, most people will avoid showing any sort of emotion in a public environment because we don't want to be criticized for that. We don't want to expose that to others. So that's what we do normally in life. We tend to hide and pull away from an emotional, deeper response. But as an actor, now we have to do the opposite because our characters, while they're going through very similar things as a normal human in life, they are at a point in their journey that they are being pushed to where they now have to take action and expose these things. So as a character, we must allow these emotions to come out. We must allow ourselves to feel things that we normally don't do in life. All right, so we're starting to get a glimpse into why acting is so difficult. So coming back to the beginning of the question, though, we have some misconceptions. And one of the misconceptions, as I said, it's, we think it's about pretending, but because of that, we don't think it's that difficult to do. We just think that there are certain people that just have a natural talent to pretend really well. There's just certain people out there that can just jump in and they can become different characters. Well, we call that talent, right? We call something when we say, oh, that person's very talented. Oh, this person, they can just jump into something, that they're so talented at that. And we think and we believe that talent is something that you are born with, meaning that there's something innate inside of you that you were just born with the ability to be an actor. And that's not true. Now, you may be born with a passion or a desire that allows you to go in the direction of acting or some artistic craft, but we're not born with the ability to do these things because an ability, first of all, means a skill. It means something we have to learn. We're not born with that knowledge already. We might be born with an aptitude or a passion or something that lends us in a certain direction, but that's all. We still have to learn it. So the good news is that acting is a skill. Okay, so the first misconception, first big misconception, we think that acting is a talent that we're born with. And the truth is, acting is a skill. Acting must be learned. And even the best of the best actors that you can think of have been working long and hard on their craft. We don't see it, we don't hear about it, of course, because we see these actors on TV or in our movies or on stage. I mean, that's where we normally see them. And so we see the result, the end result of what they've been working on. But they've been working a lot. The great actors work very hard. So it is a skill and it's learnable. It's something that that I believe anybody that has a passion for it can do it. I truly believe that. Anyone that has a passion for acting can act at some level in some way. So that leads into the next point is because we believe that you're just born with it. Well, we then believe that it doesn't require a lot of training. Because if you think about it, if something is innate inside of you, if you're born with a talent and you can either do it or you can't, well then why would you need to train so hard? You might need to take a few classes here and there and maybe learn some technical skills, but you shouldn't need to train too hard because you either have it or you don't. And that's the mindset of many people. And of course, you can't. It's hard to blame people that are outside of the acting world because you just don't know what it takes until you get inside the world. From the outside, it does look easy because the great actors make it look easy. So, there's a belief that it doesn't require a lot of training, and that's why all over, especially in the U.S., all over the country, and it's like this in many parts of the world, there are what I call quick acting classes, meaning that there's classes that you can go and you can study there once a week for, 8, 10, 12 weeks. And you take a few classes and their whole thing is, oh, you study here and we're going to quickly get you into the industry. And it just doesn't work like that. Acting takes a strong dedication and it takes constant and consistent training. And so it's important to understand that to get into acting, because it is a skill, but it's a deep rooted and deep level skill, we need to consistently train. And we need to find classes or find conservatories or find, whatever it is that fits you, but you need to constantly be working on the craft. It's an art form and it evolves over time. And the third thing is that because we think that it's innate and because we think that it doesn't require a lot of training, then the third thing is, well, it doesn't require a lot of work. Because if you're born with it, if you have it inside of you and it only takes a few classes to get there, then why would I need to put a lot of work into it? The truth is, acting requires a tremendous amount of hard work. I like to equate acting, and of course, we're talking about acting. This is really all of the arts. I mean, this is if you're playing an instrument, or if you're a singer, a dancer, a sculptor, or a painter. I mean, really anything in the artistic world requires a lot of training and consistent hard work. And uh, so, as an actor, we have to work over a long period of time, and we have to put a lot of work into it. So I like to equate acting to becoming a doctor. Now, becoming a doctor, we have some knowledge or at least awareness of why it takes a lot of work to go through that process, to go through all of that schooling, and then to go through your graduate schooling, and then your medical school, to do your internship, right? To all, to go all the way, you have to do all of these things to eventually to be your own doctor. Well, same thing with a lawyer, right? You have to go through your normal schooling, then you have to go to law school, then you have to pass the bar exam, and then you have to become an apprentice, and then you can become a lawyer. So it takes a while to do these certain careers, and we understand that. Acting is the same way. Acting takes that much time to fully get into to a high level, to a mastery level of it. It takes a long time. And because it's an art, it never ends. We never stop learning. So what is why? Why does it take? So yes. So the question I usually get back is, so you're telling me it takes what, 4 years, 6 years to be an actor? At least. It takes about 8 years to really understand it, and it takes about 20 years to master it. Yes, it takes that long. Now, it doesn't mean it takes that long to begin working in the industry. No, you can begin working in the industry relatively quickly. You just have to have, you get about a year or two of training underneath you, and you can be working at a decent level. But it does take a long time to work at the level that the A-list actors are working at. Yeah, it does. So why? What's the big thing? I mean, there can't be that much to learn. So the truth about acting is that it's not a linear process where we begin at the beginning and we go down a journey and we end at the end. It's not linear in that way. It moves more like in a circle. We learn acting, just like we learn a lot of art forms, in a cycle, meaning we start at one spot and we kind of move around a circle and we come back around to where we started. Okay, so that's interesting. Meaning that, let's say you're just starting out acting. You've never done it before, and you're just starting out, and you take your first class. Well, for the entire semester, or the entire half a year, or maybe even the entire year, you're going to learn all these new concepts. A lot of these different things that you didn't even know you needed to learn about acting, you're going to begin learning. Well, what happens is you get to the end of that first year, and you're right back where you started, but now you see it differently. You're seeing everything differently for the first time. So then you go on your journey of your second year, and you go around the cycle again, meaning we're covering, in your second year of actor training, we cover a lot of the same things that we do in the first year, except we go to a deeper level. It's because you see them differently now. So we go around that cycle again. And all of a sudden you get to your third year and you go around and we're doing the same things we've been working on, but now you're working at it at a deeper level. So it's cyclical. It goes around and around and around and around. And the more times you can go around your circle, your cycle, the deeper you get as an actor. So the thing that really makes it difficult is that acting is not technical. There is technique. There's technique with voice, there's technique with physicality, there's technique with understanding camera and position and composition. There's technique on how to stand on a stage and address an audience. Yes, there is technique. That's what we call a technical layer, which goes right on the top. It's our top layer of everything that we have to learn. But there's a foundational level too that we also have to learn. And that is, as I talked about at the beginning, acting is about allowing yourself to be who you truly are and then allow that out to the public. So what happens is a basic acting lesson. As an actor, we want all of our focus to be outward. Meaning if I'm in a scene with you, I need to put all of my focus on you. And then you need to put all of your focus on me. Now, not focus as in, I'm looking in your direction. I mean, all of my attention in this moment. I can't be thinking about anything. Nothing in the past, nothing in the future. I can't be thinking about my lines. I can't be thinking about what's happening next. I need to give you my full attention right now. And you do the same to me. And then as we go through our lines in the scene, I need to really talk to you, really say these words. I'm not just reciting dialogue. I need to really say these words to you with an intention. We call it doing. We're trying to do something with these words. I'm trying to affect you with them in some way. And then when you say something back to me, I need to really listen, not hear the words because that's what's in the script. I'm not hearing them because another actor is saying them. I am actually listening to what you are saying as if I've never heard it before and as if uh, I'm personally invested, right? So I'm really listening to these things and I'm allowing it inside. I'm allowing it to affect me, just like an authentic conversation. It's called really talk, really listen. But it's built on this concept called outward focus. Now, it seems very simple. We start in this, the first night of acting class, we start on this. And it's the concept of outward focus. And conceptually, it's very, very easy. Yeah, you just put all of your focus outward. But in reality, it's extremely difficult because to give all of my attention to somebody else right now in this moment means I need to vacate my logical mind. I need to vacate the part of my mind that likes to think about all these other things that are going on. Well, in order to not think about the words I need to say in a scene, I have to memorize them so deeply that they instinctively come out. Well, that's a whole chapter on just memorization of how do we memorize deeply and how much work really goes into that. Well, a lot. And then I also need to really just give you my attention while other people are looking at me. Because if I'm on stage, other people are looking at me. If I'm on set, other people are looking at me. But I can't give them my attention. I need to give you my attention. So then I'm battling with, well, I am aware of all these people out here and they're looking at me. What do I do with that? Well, this is where we're getting into the difficulty. It's an area called self-consciousness. The reason acting is so difficult is because we as human beings are self-conscious. Self-conscious means that the awareness is pointed inward. Instead of the ability to be outward focused and really attentive to what's happening outside of myself, I'm aware of what's happening on the inside of myself. I'm aware of what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. I'm aware of how I'm being. I'm very aware of others and the fact that they're looking at me. I'm really trying to make sure I come across well to those around me. I'm very aware of that. My ego is in full effect. My vanity is in full effect, right? These are all parts of ourself that wants to make sure that we look presentable to others, that we come across in a positive light to others. I want to make sure that the people around me see me as a good actor. Well, that's vanity. So it's self-consciousness, which is a fear. It's a fear that we have. Self-consciousness stops you from becoming emotional in a public place. Self-consciousness, causes you to make sure you say certain things or you don't say certain things. I mean, we're very aware of ourselves. And so this is the big issue. What makes acting so difficult to learn and perform at a high level? Self-consciousness. So the technique that I teach, it's based on the teachings of Sanford Meisner. And Sanford Meisner is kind of one of our modern day grandfathers of acting. And he realized that this is the main thing that stands in the way of actors reaching a high level is actors are self-conscious and therefore they don't have the ability to be outward focused and really listen to their partner. That's it. See, it's easy. We just solved it. But it takes years to learn it. It takes years. And that's why I say it's cyclical, because I just gave you the answer. I just told you what acting is and what you need to do. Yes, you need to reduce your self consciousness, put all of your focus outward, really talk, really listen. That's it. But you have to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's so when you go through a deeper level process of training, that's what that training is geared for. So when we teach at Truthful Acting, each one of our classes we reiterate, meaning we kind of retread everything. So in their very first Meisner 1 class, that whole semester, we're learning a bunch of new things about this very thing: outward focused, put all of your attention on something else, being in the present moment, allowing yourself to feel whatever you are, embracing who you are, all of these wonderful things. And then in Meisner 2, the second semester, we do it all again, but at a much deeper level. Then if you move on to like a Meisner 3, we do it again, but at a deeper level. If you go on to the film class, we do it again at a deeper level. A voice class, it's again vocally, but it's the same thing, but now we're just focused on the voice. We're focused on physicality in those classes. So it's retreading. But it all comes down to allowing yourself to be fully present in a moment and to authentically work off of your partner. So it takes a lot of hard work. And believe it or not, a lot of people who, when I have actors come through the program, and people that have a tendency of looking like they're a better actor early on, I sometimes have those. I have students that will appear in the Meisner 1 class, uh, that they're more naturally talented, I would say. Usually that means that in an earlier class they have more of an ability to be open, to allow themselves to say things and to go places that others can't. But I can tell you that it evens out very quickly. And if there's a student or an actor that relies or believes that they're naturally talented, they plateau very quickly. And someone who's extremely shy, has never done this before, they're not even sure if they can. I'm not sure if I can be emotional. I'm not sure if I can do this. I don't even know if I can speak in public. All of this, these people all of a sudden surpass this other actor that appeared in the beginning to be so much better, because it's the hard work. And we need to have that humility as a student and as an actor. You need to have that humility to say, I'm just going to keep working. So the one that thinks they might not be able to do it, but they really want it, they'll work harder. The one that believes that, oh, I'm naturally talented, I don't need to work as hard, well, they won't work as hard. And all of a sudden, the naturally talented one will plateau, and the other one will raise right above them. So with acting, just to summarize this up, with acting, it's about allowing your essence, who you truly are at your core. It's about getting down to that and allowing it out. It's a long process. It's a vulnerable process, but we can do it. And then it's about existing in a moment, really talking, meaning I'm really saying these words, and then really listening, and then working off of each other over and over and over. And that's acting in a nutshell. So if you have any questions during this whole thing, there is a chat feature. Please, you're more than welcome. You can just throw a question in the chat, and I will get to it as soon as I can. But I am going to go through some submitted questions that were sent in to me, and we'll go through those one by one, and we'll see how many we can get through. So our first question is, how can I become as successful as possible? Well, I think I talked about that a little bit in the topic today, but To be as successful as possible, you need to have continuous work. And you need to have, so one of the things I really put in emphasis on is work ethic. So, work ethic means your quality of work and how you go about uh, conducting your own work. And so, to have a strong work ethic means that you show up when you're supposed to, you show up on time, so you're there, and then you're prepared, you're ready to go. That right there is a strong work ethic, and it shows integrity. And then also, it goes into making sure, because I can teach you an entire process for acting. And I can teach you an entire process for acting that can land you on Broadway or can land you in Hollywood. But I can't put you on Broadway or I can't put you in Hollywood. I can only teach you the process that can allow you to go toe to toe with the best actors out there. But your work ethic, how much time you put into it, how hard you work on your tools and your process, that will be the determining factor. So, to become as successful as possible, you need to have an extremely strong work ethic, and you need to have a pretty good dose of humility. Humility is something that keeps us hungry. It keeps us, one, appreciating the small victories when they come, and even and not allowing the big victories to become too big. And it keeps us working hard because we're grateful for those around us. We're grateful for the opportunities. We're grateful for our own creativity and what we're able to accomplish. But we also know that without the hard work, we wouldn't be there. So humility is very important. So strong work ethic, a big dose of humility, and that will do it. And train, 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 train. Take acting classes. That's it. Now, when you're looking for an acting class, I mean, if you're in the Central Florida area, I'd love to have an opportunity to work with you. Even if you're outside, we still do. We operate in what's called a hybrid format. So we allow outside students all over the world to join our classes remotely. And you're live with us during a class. You can see into the classroom and talk to us and the whole thing. You're just not there with us in person. But we do offer those type of seats as well. But take a class and make sure you meet the instructor and make sure you talk to other actors that have gone there wherever you are and find some place that really fits your way of learning. So we all have different ways of learning. If you think back to like high school or college or even elementary school, there were certain teachers that you clicked with and certain ones that you didn't. It's because each teacher has a different style of teaching and each student has a different style of learning. So the best thing is try to find an instructor that matches you. You have a style of learning, they're going to have a style of teaching. You want those things to click, especially in a field like acting where it's, as I've been saying, it's very vulnerable. I always like to say that acting's a lot like therapy because of the level of vulnerability that we go through. So when you're finding an acting instructor, it's similar to finding a therapist, where you have to make sure you find someone you trust and that you feel safe with to go on the journey and to take the risks. And then just work, 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 work as hard as you can. Our next question. Do the Meisner classes, I think at our studio, do the Meisner classes have any film or TV focus? So our in our program we have the first two classes. It's called Meisner 1 and Meisner 2, and they're called that because they're based on the teachings of Sanford Meisner. And this is an 8-month process. It's basically an academic year a process, and it's pretty intensive. Our classes are twice a week, and they're 3.5 hours a class. So you get 7 class hours a week, and a semester runs for 28 classes. So it's pretty similar to what we do at the university. I also teach at the university here, and we pretty much mirror that type of schedule. So twice a week, 7 class hours a week, and then there's homework. So you get about 100 class hours a semester. Then there's homework and work on top of that. So it's pretty intensive. So in the first 2 semesters, which is we call it our Master Meisner program, and it's a certificate gaining program because it kind of lays the foundation of everything you need as an actor. It's in that program, uh, it applies to all of acting. It's everything you need for film, television, stage, live performance, theme park, public speaking, commercial. I mean, everything. Now, when I say everything, everything at the foundational level. And then on top of that, there are technique classes that you take specifically for film, television, even drama, comedy, acting on stage, Shakespeare. There's all these different things that we apply different technique on top of the foundation of acting. So, as far as do the Miser classes have any film or TV focus? Well, they have a lot if we're speaking of how we act on film or television. But we don't get into, in those classes, we don't get into the technical aspects. We don't get into, framing and composition and how to hit a mark and a lot of the things that I do later. I actually teach a film and television class. I'm teaching one this semester. And in that class, we get into all of the technique that layers on top of everything else. But I have my students apply everything they've learned through the Meisner program. I have them apply that as we're learning the technique. So they serve each other. So that's the best way I can answer that question is yes, they do from an acting standpoint. But from a technical standpoint, we have other classes that address that more specifically. All right. Next question. So I have no experience and I'm not sure this is for me. Without spending a lot of money, what are my options to try it out? So this is a bit of a difficult one because with acting and even with trying it out, it's hard to try it out without taking a class. The classroom is kind of where you figure out if acting is for you or not, because the class is going to give you some insight into exercises and acting games and some different things, just the creative experience on whether or not you want to do it. It's kind of, it's if you think about it this way, if you're thinking about playing the guitar, but you want to know if you want to play the guitar without ever touching a guitar, I think you'd have a difficult time doing that. At some point, you need to pick it up and actually play a few chords and start learning it and see, okay, is this for me or do I not want to do that? So, where you can start, I understand money is a big concern. And so places you can start, there's a lot of reading material on acting. So, read a few acting books. You can search online. I have this type of live session every couple weeks, and you can jump on and join and ask questions and get involved. And you can just take this as a free class because you get to interact with me directly. You can put something in the chat, I'll respond back. So right here you have access to a free class. But those are the types of things I would do. And then I would look for maybe seminars or workshops, something that's a little smaller format where it's not as expensive and you can have like a little taste of it. Like they have weekend workshops or sometimes they're like 1-day seminars, 1-day workshops. I would do things like that, not spending a lot of money, but still having an experience. And that's the best way to really get going and see if any of this is for you. Outside of that, I think it is very difficult, though, without getting into a class. Um, the good news is we'll hopefully by the end of this year we're going to be introducing a whole separate online portion of our training where we're going to be offering prepackaged courses. Prepackaged courses are going to be for those who don't live nearby or can't afford to come in studio. Well, at a heavily reduced rate, you can buy a course that you take online at your own pace. And I'll walk you through, I mean, I'll be instructing you similar to as I would do in person. I'll walk you through the exercises and give you things to do and show you how to do them. And that's going to be another way that you can do it without spending the money it takes to be in studio. All right, so next question. So I'm from the Bahamas and I currently still live there. Do you think I would be afforded the same opportunities as those that live in the US? Okay, interesting. So by same opportunities, so break this down a little bit. So first of all, if you're from the Bahamas and you want to be an actor, you can. Absolutely. And there's actually there's places locally in the Bahamas where you can study acting, you can do theater. They shoot film and commercials there, commercials quite frequently, actually. So there are many opportunities that you can get involved in acting right there locally where you live. Now, if you're talking about living in the Bahamas but wanting opportunities in the US, that's where it's going to be more difficult. Now if you move to the US, yes, you're afforded the same opportunities. Living in the Bahamas and working in the US, probably not. It's going to be more of a challenge. And really, living in the US, depending on where you live, is more of a challenge. There's just certain opportunities that you need to be in LA to really get the best opportunities, or in New York to get those opportunities, or now in Atlanta. So it's not impossible. I mean, it's not that you can't do it, but a lot of times the castings that are happening in LA, they're contained to LA. They don't really branch out outside of that. Sometimes they do, and the ones that they decide to branch outside of or even post internationally, then you might have an opportunity for that. What you would need to do is you would need to get a talent agent there locally in the Bahamas that has contacts within the US or all of North America, and then that way you could they would be able to submit you for those roles. The nice thing is nowadays with technology, we can remotely audition for things. We don't have to go be in person for all of them. And so what they'll do sometimes is they'll have an audition for a film, and let's say right from the Bahamas, if you have that opportunity, they'll say, okay, submit in a tape, which means a video recording of yourself conducting the audition. And you can record it and email that or send it in however they ask for it. And that's a way that you can audition locally from the Bahamas to really anywhere that's accepting. So keep working. Don't let first of all, don't let location stop you from being an artist. You can be an artist anywhere. So allow that passion to continue inside of you. Continue working on it. Do whatever you can locally where you are. Theater is wonderful, and there's theater everywhere. So get involved in that type of art. Commercials, get involved in those. Those are very fun. But keep looking around and see if you can get an agent that's local to you. All right, next question. After completion of your course, will I get any assistance in finding a job or an agent? So another very common question that we get is a lot of students and potential students want to know, well, are you going to help me get a job? So the short answer is no, I'm not going to get you a job. But am I going to guide you in the right direction? Yes, absolutely. The whole way we do that. We help you put together your resume. We help you with getting headshots. We don't do the headshots, but we'll guide you in that direction. We'll give you coaching on how to take a proper headshot when you decide you want to go do them. We'll even then look at them over and help you pick out the ones that will best work with for you in your career. Um, we'll guide you to certain agents and give you guidance on how to submit to them. So we're going to help you the whole way. But it's not that, well, if you study with me, you're going to directly get this agent. It doesn't work like that in the industry. Uh, I'm gonna, like I've said before, it comes down to work ethic. I can show you the entire map. I could teach you every single thing I possibly know, but ultimately it comes down to what are you going to do, and you're the one that needs to take the reins and then apply it and do something. I can tell you, I mean, even as I was just saying, we have an entire full academic year of training before which is the completion of that course. I mean, you're with us for a year. At the end of that, uh, you'll have so much knowledge, and you'll have such a good feeling of what you want to do that you'll be able to go and submit to an agent or find castings, and you're going to have enough knowledge to do that. And we help you that whole time. So and we've been together a long time, and it's sure you come into class and you ask, oh yeah, hey, there's an opportunity coming up, can you help me figure out what to do? Absolutely. So that's what we'll do. Agents, there's a bunch of agents, whether it's here in Central Florida or anywhere else. Agencies will, I can definitely guide you on. I think this would be a good fit for you, or this agent over here. Here's how you need to submit to them. We can do things like that. But just understand in this industry, and it's real important. Uh, you're going to need to work your way through it. We, as human beings, we're always looking for shortcuts. It's just part of our human nature. We want the easiest path. And in acting, many students and many actors are looking for the shortest path to get there, the shortest path to working professionally or working in LA or working on Broadway. And the truth is, there is no shortcut. There is no short path. As I said in the beginning, it takes a tremendous amount of hard work and consistent work to do it. So, uh, as I do with all my students, we work really hard in the studio, and I'll train. I'll train and keep pushing you and keep making sure you're learning at the highest level possible. Um, but ultimately, I've seen extremely talented actors that don't quite make it because they don't take the risks. They don't do what's necessary for them. And then I've seen other actors that again have come from nowhere and have just started, and man, they all of a sudden shoot right up and they have a lot of opportunities, but they're working for them. They're working very, very hard for them. They have a very strong integrity. They have the type of work ethic and personality people just want to be around because they're positive. They're smiling a lot. They're in good moods, and they work really hard. And that's what we look for in the industry. We want positive, hardworking people. Believe it or not, the positivity is a big deal because you can be the hardest working person there, but if you're negative, it's hard to be around. Negativity, a film set or a stage play, these environments are extremely stressful. And not saying stressful for you, the actor. I'm definitely saying stressful for a director or producer, for the people that are putting it together. It's very, very stressful. There's a lot at stake. And so, what we want from our actors is to take a little bit of that pressure off of us. And you do that by being in a good mood. That's a really, really, really big thing. A positive attitude. You're not letting the little things get to you. You're not letting them pull you down. You're not coming to set with a negative attitude about anything. But you come and you're positive. You're ready to be there. You're excited about acting. That's what we want. That makes us feel better. Directors, producers, crew. That makes us. We kind of put us at ease. we feel like, okay, everything's going to be okay. And it's infectious across the whole set, across the whole stage. I mean, however we're doing it. And so it really comes down to that. And the same thing is going to be with an agent, with a job, with an audition. Your attitude, meaning your personality. When I say personality, I'm not talking about something that you can't control. I'm talking about the choices of your personality of being positive in this moment. Of trying to find the good around you, of working from gratitude and being grateful for the opportunities and the people around you. That's what I mean by personality. Your attitude towards that. That and your work ethic. Man, if we get positive, hardworking people, I can't get enough. I want to work with those people. And if you give me two actors, and one, we'll just say on this very weird talent scale, one is at a higher talent level, meaning what they're able to produce, uh, on their own, it looks better on screen or on stage. Like, okay, and you have somebody else that isn't as strong talent wise. Now, the one with a lot of talent is a bit negative and difficult to work with, not a very strong work ethic. And the one that seemingly doesn't have the initial talent, great attitude, and very strong work ethic. I will work with this person every time because I know I can get you there. I know we can work together. We can collaborate, and together we're going to create something that's better than anything I could get from someone else. That collaboration, which is two artists coming together, working together to create something that has never been seen before. Meaning this blending of talent, this blending of creativity, this blending of ideas and passions. That is something that all of us in the industry want desperately. We're always looking to working with people that are passionate and excited to be there. So if you have that, you can start working right away just on that. Just saying, okay, well, let me begin starting to be more grateful for the things I have in the world around me. That is what's going to help you be successful and get those jobs. When you walk into an agent's office, that's what's going to land it, is having a good, strong, positive attitude. Even at auditions are all about attitude. We think it's about talent, and there is some. I mean, there's some skill there that you have to demonstrate that you can do, but an audition is really all about attitude. And so that's how that comes together. Well, wow, I can't believe it. It's almost been an hour already. So right now we've been back in studio for a little while for this summer, because things currently are calmed down pandemic wise, and so we're able to do some classes in studio. We do some classes on Zoom, and it's been very successful. We're looking to be back in studio more full time in the fall. Our next round of classes begin on September 13th, and we have our Meisner 1 classes, and we have both daytime and evening options available. Our daytime is 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and our evening is 7 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And as I said before, if you're in the Central Florida or greater area and you'd like to be in person with us, we'd love to have you in the studio. All of our information's on our website, um, which is right here. You can get our at truthfulacting.com. Or you can reach out to us. You can the email. You can reach out to us on our email. You can reach out on the phone number. You can call or text if you have any questions. And if you're outside of the area, anywhere in the world, and you would like to be part of the class, you can be part of our hybrid format, which means you'll be in class on Zoom. So we're all pretty used to Zoom right now, or the remote classing. So you'll be on class in Zoom, but what happens, I have it set up. We have two Zoom studios. So you're looking in, you're seeing the class I can hear you, and we can see you from class. So you're fully participating in the class. I mean, as much as possible. You're participating in the discussions and in a lot of the smaller exercises that we do. There's some things that we do that obviously you can't participate without being there, but you're still live with us in those classes, and you'll have the homework, and you'll be connecting up with the students, and so we have incorporated that to work for as many people as we can. So either way, we would love to see you. But we will be back in 2 weeks, and we'll be talking about a different acting topic, and I'll be answering some more questions. So I'd love to see you all back at that time as well. In the meantime, please reach out to us if you have any other questions, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.